Welcome to episode 7. Before something looks good, it has to be properly set up. We have built Ember and Bean step by step. Now we prepare it properly and then we start styling it. Before we go about our styling today, we'll quickly go to our head section and fill in some important details which are needed to be in our head section. The first thing we need to do today is to impute the first two metadata which we need in our head section. The first one is our meta character set, which we'll be needing. So character set, short for cast sets. Then we fill in UTF-8. So after doing that, we have the second metadata. The second metadata, which is for our proper display. So we have to fill our name, which goes for the viewport. Then after doing that, the next we'll have should be our contents. Yeah, so the content should have width. The content should have the width which is equals the device width. Then you can add a comma. Then we should also have the initial scale. The initial scale, which will be 1.0 for standard. So we also have in the next line our title, which is our web title. In the web title, we can easily name it Ember and Bean. So before we create our link, the first thing we need to do is to go to our project file, and here on our project file, we simply create a folder which we'll call CSS. So after creating our folder in our CSS, we create the first file which we'll call name.css. So here we have our main.css. We can drag to make it a double screen. So we drag. So we can drag it to the right hand side to make it a double screen. So here we go back to our head section in our HTML. Then we create the link. So here we have an attribute relation which is equals style sheets. Then here we have a href where we are going to impute the file created. So we easily type css, which is /main.css. With this being done, our CSS is automatically linked to our HTML. So whatever we apply on our CSS is really going to display while we refresh our page. So when we talk about the link and when we talk about all this part prepares the page before anything shows, such as our meta character sets. This ensures that text displays correctly. The viewport is what makes it responsive on phones and other devices. Then the title is what shows on the web browser or the browser tab. Then the link is what connects our CSS file. And now we have moved into styling. First thing we need to do on our CSS is targeting the body. So here on the body, we have body, our curly brackets. Then inside we can have what we call the fonts family. In our font family, we can choose, here we have the area census array. So after doing that, we can also choose our background color. So our background color can, we can use a light gray, a light gray, or let's say ash uh, 5F, 5F, 5F. I think they should go for our gray color, which is light gray. So this changes how everything feels, because the font family, this is the tone of your text, while the background color is what we know as the environment. So we think of it like setting the mood of our cafe before customer even sits down. And always remember that a good result always starts with a proper setup. So we Control X back to our HTML file, we Control X to save, then we go straight to go live to see what we have implemented so far. So here on our browser, we can see there's a change on our browser. You can see that our background has totally changed from pure white to a gray background, which is actually okay. This shows that we are still on progress to make Ember and Bean come true. So what changed for you first? Is it the setup or the styling? Drop it in the comment section. Remember, preparation is part of the results. Next, we style the header and the navigation and shape the identity of Ember and B using what we also known as the reset style sheets. See you in the next episode. I am Deluminous.